This is a 2007 Volvo S80. This particular vehicle has the 3.2 inline six-cylinder engine. And today what we're going to do is we're going to change the oil in this. And the reason I'm doing a video on this oil change, I wouldn't, I guess, normally do a oil change video, but this vehicle has a paper style filter with this O-ring. And that's what makes it kind of different than some of the other ones. But not a big deal. Nothing we can't handle. So the first thing you want to do, as with any oil change, is make sure the vehicle's in park, and then we're going to drain the oil. Now, as you can see, I'm in my driveway. So what I ended up doing was I put this on two jack stands where I can get under there, and I used a 17 millimeter to remove that bolt. And of course, once you remove that bolt, a tremendous amount of oil is going to come gushing out. Now, just be advised, this thing holds a little over 7 liters of oil, so be prepared to accept quite a bit. I actually had to dump my pan twice during this process. But once you get all that oil drained, put the 17 millimeter bolt back in place. You can lower the vehicle at that point. We're done underneath the vehicle. That's the good news with this Volvo, is we don't have to be on our back and change the oil filter. So there is a pro to this. But now what we're going to do is we're going to access this canister. It's just, the top of it's just above my index finger right there. We're going to access the lid to that, and that's how we're going to pull the old filter out and put the new one in, as well as that seal. So I'm going to put the camera on the tripod, and let's do that now. Okay, so our goal is to get down to that canister lid, and as you can see, there's a lot of things in the way. In particular, this power steering pump, I guess, is the primary culprit that's in our way. So in order to be able to access this a little bit better, what we're going to do is actually pull this headlight out, and Volvo has made this incredibly easy. Look at that. These pins right here hold that headlight in. I'm not always an import fan, but that's actually pretty genius. And it makes it really, really easy. No bolts or anything. Once we get the headlight pulled out, we're going to disconnect this plug. Okay. Move that over to the side. All right, and now what we're going to do is this power steering pump actually just lifts out of this slot. I'm not disconnecting any hoses whatsoever. And I'm going to kind of move it out of the way. And if you turn it just right, you can kind of pull it into this void right here where that headlight was. There we go. Now we have a lot more space. And I think I may remove this also, just so I don't get hung up on that. Okay, now that all this stuff's out of the way, I've got a socket on here with an extension, and we are oh so gently, I'll move my hand so you can see, oh so gently going to remove the lid. And we're going to ease it out. And there it is. So right there's the seal. Hope I got that where you can see. All right, so we're going to change the filter and then also this seal. I'm going to put this filter in my drain bin. Okay, so what I did was I ended up just kind of working that filter out like so. That's what it looks like inside. We're going to be very careful not to damage this. Pretty tight fit. There we go. There we go. So I don't know if it's any twist, so I'm just going to kind of work my thumb around to make it conform to a very natural laying pattern in there. Sorry I bumped the camera. All right, but there we go. Make sure there's no gritty stuff on there. Now I'll put this on there. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to thread it back on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to snug it back up. Notice I didn't say tighten. We're going to get it snug. It's plastic. I want to make sure it's seated though. And that's a little bit difficult to see. There we go. So now it stops, it's seated, and I am not going to torque this thing down. I'm going to call that good. So what's good about this? Well, I didn't have to get on my back other than to drain the oil. It's just different. Okay, now that that is on and it's seated, what I'm going to do is just put everything back in place. And then, of course, fill up the oil. This thing does, like I said, it holds a little over 7 quarts, so we're going to be here for a minute filling it up. I'm not going to make you endure that, but easy enough to do. That's right. And then here's our 2 pins. And the tab is facing you. And what I do is I put them in there halfway until I know they're both engaged. Done. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope this was helpful to somebody out there. I know this is kind of an older vehicle, but who knows, it might be helpful to somebody. Thanks for watching.